The city was already awake before the sun had the courage to rise. Horns blared, footsteps hurried, and clouds gathered above the skyline, painting the morning in shades of gray. It was the kind of day that whispered, something's going to go wrong. Inside a small, worn-down apartment, Daniel Carter struggled to tie his tie while holding his 4-year-old daughter, Lily, on one arm. Her sleepy eyes blinked open as she murmured, "Daddy, is it still dark?" He smiled softly, hiding the storm inside his chest. "It's just early, sweetheart. Daddy has to go to work." She yawned and snuggled against his shoulder, her little hand clutching his collar. "Can I come?" He paused for a moment, staring at the peeling wallpaper, the empty cereal box on the counter, and the unpaid bills stacked neatly beside the coffee mug. "Yeah," he whispered. "You can come." 10 minutes later, they were out the door. The air was thick with drizzle, the kind that made the world look tired. Daniel adjusted the strap of her pink backpack over his shoulder and balanced her weight as they hurried to the bus stop. The daycare had refused to take her early again. "We open at 9, Mr. Carter," the receptionist had said coldly over the phone. "If you can't follow our schedule, maybe you should find another place." Another place. As if there were choices for people like him. He had already been late twice this week, and today's report was due by noon. If he lost this job. No. He couldn't even finish the thought. When the bus finally arrived, Daniel climbed aboard, shielding Lily from the rain. She pressed her small hands against the foggy window and drew a smiling face. "That's us, Daddy," she said proudly. He smiled faintly. "That's right, baby. That's us." By the time they reached the towering glass building of Henderson and Company, Daniel's heart was pounding. He wiped the rain from his suit jacket and took a deep breath before stepping inside. The air smelled of expensive perfume and freshly printed paper, a world where no one had to worry about daycare hours or empty fridges. As he crossed the lobby, the receptionist, a young woman with sharp eyeliner, frowned. "Mr. Carter, again." Daniel forced a polite smile. "Just until 9. I'll drop her off as soon as daycare opens." She sighed and picked up the phone. "You'd better hurry. Mr. Green's already asking about you." Daniel's stomach dropped. He quickened his pace, his shoes squeaking against the marble floor. The elevator ride to the 14th floor felt endless. When the doors opened, dozens of eyes turned to him, polished shoes, neat suits, perfect smiles. And there he was, holding a child with mismatched socks and a unicorn hairclip. Lily waved cheerfully at one of the women. "Hi." The woman smiled awkwardly and went back to typing. Daniel set Lily in the chair beside his cubicle. "Sweetheart, can you draw Daddy a picture while I finish my report?" She nodded, already reaching for the crayons from her tiny bag. "I'm gonna draw us a big house. With a garden." "Sounds perfect," he whispered, and turned to his computer, typing like a man running from fire. His fingers moved fast, but his mind was slower. He hadn't slept properly in days. At exactly 8:35 a.m., a shadow loomed over his desk. "Daniel." He froze. That tone, cold, precise, belonged to one person. He turned to see Mr. Green, the regional manager, standing with his hands in his pockets. His silver hair was perfectly combed, his suit worth more than Daniel's yearly rent. "In my office. Now." Daniel swallowed hard, scooping Lily into his arms. "Yes, sir." The walk to the office felt longer than it should. The whispers behind him stung like invisible thorns. When he entered, Mr. Green shut the door, sighing heavily. "Daniel," he began, "we've talked about this before." "I know, sir, and I'm sorry. I tried the daycare again this morning." Mr. Green raised a hand to silence him. "This isn't about daycare. It's about discipline. Performance. Professionalism." Daniel's throat tightened. "I've hit every target you've set. My reports are always accurate, Anne. And you're late. Repeatedly. You miss meetings. And now you're bringing your child to work again. Lily looked up from Daniel's shoulder and whispered, "Are you mad at my daddy?" Mr. Green blinked, startled, but his voice stayed firm. "No, young lady. I'm just disappointed." Daniel felt his face burn with shame. "Sir, please, just give me a week. I'll find a solution. I promise." "Daniel," Mr. Green said softly now, almost regretfully. "You're a good man. But good isn't enough in this business. We need someone who can be fully present." Daniel's lips trembled. "Sir, she's all I have." For the first time, the man hesitated. But the silence that followed was final. "I'm sorry. We have to let you go. Effective immediately." The words echoed in Daniel's head. Fired. Just like that. No warning, no mercy. He stood there for a moment, frozen in disbelief. Lily tugged on his tie. "Daddy? Are we going home now?" His voice broke as he forced a smile. "Yeah, sweetheart. We're going home." Mr. Green looked away, unable to meet his eyes. As Daniel walked through the office one last time, he could feel the pity in every glance. Some tried to smile, some pretended not to see. The elevator doors closed behind him with a metallic sigh. By the time he reached the lobby, the drizzle outside had turned into full rain. He stepped out without an umbrella, the cold drops soaking through his shirt. Lily buried her face in his shoulder. "It's okay," he whispered, more to himself than to her. "Daddy's got you. We'll be fine." He walked aimlessly down the street, the world blurring around him. Every step felt heavier than the last. His shoes squelched with water, his arms ached from holding her, but he couldn't put her down. He stopped at a crosswalk and looked up at the gray sky. "God, what do I do now?" he whispered. A few cars slowed. As they passed, drivers glancing curiously at the soaked man with the child in his arms. But one car didn't move. A sleek black vehicle with tinted windows remained parked by the curb. Inside, a woman watched silently. Her name was Evelyn Moore, though Daniel didn't know it yet. She was on her way to a meeting at Henderson and Company, but something about the scene outside had frozen her hand on the door handle. A man, drenched, holding his child close, whispering comfort through his own despair. She couldn't look away. For a moment, time itself seemed to hold its breath, the city noise fading, the rain softening, as if the universe had decided that this man's suffering would not go unnoticed. And though Daniel didn't know it yet, his life was about to change in a way he could never have imagined. The morning after the rain smelled like old dreams, a mix of wet pavement, coffee, and quiet hope. The city was awake again, but this time Daniel wasn't rushing anywhere. He sat in the corner of a small cafe, the kind that didn't mind if you stayed too long as you looked tired enough. Lily sat across from him, swinging her legs, humming to herself as she colored with a half-broken crayon on a napkin. The pink backpack rested beside her like a loyal companion. Daniel scrolled through his phone, eyes scanning job listings that blurred together. Experience required. Minimum degree. Must have flexible hours. Each one felt like a door closing in his face. His savings wouldn't last long, and the rent notice on the counter at home had already turned red. He rubbed his forehead, exhaustion settling deep in his bones. Lily looked up. "Daddy, are you sad?" He forced a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "No, sweetheart. Daddy's just thinking." "About what?" "About how to make everything okay." She tilted her head, studying him with a seriousness only children had. "You always make things okay." The words hit him harder than he expected. He reached across the table and brushed a crumb from her cheek. "I'm trying, baby." Outside, the rain had finally stopped. The streets glistened in the morning sun, reflections of passing cars dancing across the cafe's window. A bell jingled as the door opened, letting in a rush of cold air and a faint scent of perfume. A woman stepped in, tall, graceful, dressed in a cream coat that looked too elegant for a place like this. Her eyes, though soft, held the quiet power of someone who wasn't used to being told no. She looked around, scanning the cafe, until her gaze landed on Daniel and the little girl with the crayons. For a moment, she hesitated. Then she walked toward them. "Excuse me," she said gently. Daniel looked up, startled. "Oh, yes. I'm sorry to intrude," she said, smiling faintly. "But I think I saw you yesterday. Outside Henderson and Company." Daniel blinked, unsure. "You were there?" She nodded. "I was in a meeting with Mr. Green. I saw you leaving with your daughter. It stuck with me." Daniel's face flushed with embarrassment. He straightened, instinctively protective. "Look, if you're from the company." "No, no," she interrupted softly. "I'm not here because of that. My name's Evelyn Moore. I run the Moore Foundation. We help families in difficult circumstances." He relaxed slightly, though suspicion still lingered. "I appreciate that, Ms. Moore, but I'm not here to ask for charity." Evelyn smiled, almost sadly. "I didn't think you were. You didn't ask anyone for help yesterday either, even when you clearly needed it." He looked down, his hand tightening around his coffee cup. "Because I'm used to standing on my own." She studied him for a moment, the worn-out suit jacket, the tired eyes, the way he still kept his daughter close as if afraid the world might take her too. "What did you do at Henderson?" she asked softly. "Accounts department," he replied. "For years. I was good at it. Maybe too quiet to get noticed, but good." "Quiet can be good," Evelyn said thoughtfully. "Quiet means focus. Dedication. Loyalty." Lily peeked up from her napkin drawing. "Are you my daddy's new boss?" Evelyn laughed lightly. "Maybe. Should I be?" Lily grinned and nodded. "He's really smart. He even makes pancakes shaped like hearts." Daniel chuckled under his breath, a sound that felt foreign after the last few days. "She's my little publicist." Evelyn's smile softened. "You're raising her well. That's not easy to do alone." The words hit something deep inside him, a place between pride and pain. "It's not easy. But she's all I've got." Evelyn leaned forward. "I'm going to be direct, Mr. Carter. My foundation just lost our senior accountant last month. We've been looking for someone reliable, someone who understands numbers but also understands people. I think you might be that person." He blinked, unsure if he'd heard right. "You, what?" "I'd like to offer you a position. Full salary. Flexible hours. Health benefits for you and your daughter. And," she smiled at Lily, "we have on-site childcare." For a moment, Daniel didn't breathe. The cafe noise faded, the clinking cups, the whir of the coffee machine, the chatter, everything blurred into a single heartbeat. "Ms. Moore. I don't understand. You don't even know me." She nodded slowly. "You're right. But I know what I saw. A man walking through the rain, holding his child, protecting her when the world turned its back. I saw strength, not failure. That's the kind of person I want in my organization." His throat tightened. "You're serious?" "Completely," she said. "Life gives us moments when we can either walk past someone's pain, or change it. I don't plan to walk past." Lily's small voice broke the silence. "Daddy, does that mean we can get pancakes again?" Daniel laughed through his tears. "Maybe even the fancy kind, sweetheart." He turned to Evelyn, still dazed. "I don't know what to say." "Say yes," she said simply. He nodded slowly, emotion choking his words. "Then, yes. Thank you." Thank you so much. Evelyn stood and extended her hand. Welcome to the Moore Foundation, Mr. Carter. We'll start Monday. Bring your daughter, we'll take care of her while you rebuild everything you've lost. He shook her hand, and for the first time in years, his grip didn't feel weak or uncertain. It felt like a man holding on to a second chance. After Evelyn left, Daniel sat in silence, staring at the steam rising from his coffee. Lily tugged on his sleeve. Daddy? Yeah, baby. See? I told you everything would be okay. He smiled, wiping away a tear before she could see it. You were right, princess. You always are. Outside, the sky had turned from gray to gold. The city glimmered under the new sunlight, as if the world itself was congratulating him. When they stepped out of the cafe, Lily reached for his hand. Daddy, can we get ice cream? He laughed. Ice cream for breakfast? She nodded. It's a celebration. Daniel looked up at the sky, bright, clean, forgiving. You know what, Lily? You're absolutely right. As they walked down the street, the same black car from the day before passed by slowly. Evelyn sat inside, watching through the window, a small smile playing on her lips. Her assistant glanced at her curiously. You really think he's the one? I don't think, Evelyn said softly, eyes still on the father and daughter. I know. People like him don't just work for you, they remind you why you built something worth having. The car drove away, and Daniel, unaware he was being watched, lifted Lily into his arms. She laughed, and for the first time in a long, long while, that sound didn't echo against despair. It soared, clear, bright, and full of life. The sound of a man who had lost everything but found more than he'd ever dreamed.